First of many.
First of many, for sure. We are recording.
Oh, wow. Suddenly we're moving fast. We'll start at 7:30 if anybody can attend any matters. Big crowd tonight. We're doing it on demand, Ted. We're printing on demand. We're trying to be environmentally. Well, you could look, you could bring your tablet or your laptop and it could email you a copy too, actually.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Only because it's such a big one. It's a 3-pager. Minus 40 seconds.
Yeah, the phone on the wall's back.
As soon as somebody's cell phone says 7:30, I want to know because they should all be,
7:20.
they should all be synchronized. If now says 7:30. I'd like to, excuse me. I'm gonna run this meeting if that's okay, Kate. You mind? Okay. So, Eileen. Call to order. We have a certain procedure.
She's in the country.
There she is.
No, she's gone, she's back.
I did call the meeting to order. Just to be certain. And Lisa's gonna lead the pledge tonight, just so you all know, okay? Lisa Bennett, our second.
I can hear you okay, so go ahead.
Okay.
It finally
Roll call, please.
clicked in. Supervisor Vestola,
Here.
Councilman O'Connor,
Here.
Councilman Stat,
Here.
Councilman Gronwell,
Here.
Councilwoman Crowley.
President.
Let that Lisa Bennett, our assessor, lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the December 12th minutes?
I make a motion to approve the December 12th minutes.
And a second? A second. Mark, second. Those in favor?
Aye.
That carries. Okay, we have our organizational items for the year. And I presume everyone's had a chance to look them over. All the department heads were contacted and it seemed very solid to all of us. Any comments?
It looked good to me.
Excellent.
We just need to discuss the mileage, obviously.
Well, that's after we do this. Yeah, that's the last item. Okay, with the mileage again, last year. It started out at 58 cents and then the Fed raised it to 62.5 and. About a week ago, they came out with the rate for 2023, which is 65.5 cents per mile. So my vote or recommendation would be 65 and if we need to adjust it down the road, depending on fuel prices and everything else, go from there. I agree with 65. Gas isn't cheap, and tires aren't cheap, oil isn't cheap. Okay, so.
I'm fine with 65.
Okay.
Although I don't know what period of time they used to set the 65 anyhow. I mean, gas prices have gone down $1 a gallon in the last couple of months. Just an observation.
When they bumped it up to 63, it had heat item. You actually look at them.
Well, I mean, gas prices are gonna fluctuate. I mean,
They are, especially when you go to summer blend. Yep.
yeah. I'm fine with 65 cents.
Okay, need a motion.
Make a motion, we put 65 cents per mile for the mileage.
I'll second it. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it carries. Thank you. And we're below the federal threshold. And the math is easy. Okay, motion to approve the adoption of the organizational meeting items.
I make a motion to block 2 through 8 of resolutions and make a motion to approve that.
I would like to hold off on that. I would like to table resolution 4. Unless Kate's good with it.
No, I'm not.
All right, we're gonna table resolution 4. And we'll block 1 through 8 minus resolution 4.
I'm fine with that.
Okay,
I stand corrected.
no, you didn't know,
That's
So-
okay.
so we're tabling resolution 4. So we're on the same page,
which is the procurement policy.
Correct.
correct?
And who's the second?
I'll second. Mark,
Those in favor? Aye, opposed? Okay, great. Would love blocking. That just saved 20 minutes. Privilege of the floor. We have another privileged floor later on in the meeting. Communications, they were emailed once again. I didn't think there was anything that needed to be printed. We'll go into our reports. Town clerk.
Paying to the supervisor for the general fund, $522.05. For water billing, $629.44. DEC for decals, $260.75. Animal population control fund of $6 for a total disbursement of $1,418.24. I also wrote out a check to the supervisor, which was deposited for $56.93, which was the remaining amount in the tax collector's accounts. It's higher than normal because there were actually 2 people that never cashed their overpayment check. One of them was fairly high. I called and left a message for that person and they never got back to me. So it's deposited into the supervisor's account. I also gave him a copy of the annual financial report for the town clerk for 2022, which is just a listing of all of the amounts that the board gets each month from my town clerk report. It just compiles everything onto one sheet. And I'm getting a lot of tax payments in already. The new software is going a little bit slow. They're still correcting things at their end as we get started. And water billing also went out. That's all I've got. So I just need a motion and a second for the financial report.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
aye.
All right,
That carries. The historian report is they want to continue on and they were happy with resuming their duties as deputy and historian. But anyone that would like to talk to me about future historian, feel free to talk to me. CEO.
We had issued 3 new permits and 4 renewals. We had 1 order to remedy, 2 violation letters, and then we issued 1 short-term rental permit, and then I got 1 real close, so.
Nice.
How many of those short-term rentals have we got?
I think 16 right now. I've got another 6 or 8 on my desk. Okay. We're just waiting on people to reschedule because the ones I have on my desk, the people they don't live in the area. And even though I've told them that they can have someone represent them at the inspection, you know, they don't have to be here, but most of them have to be here. So. Figure something out later.
May I interrupt for just 1 minute, please?
Yep.
So for the people who have logged in that are not here, our camera is not working, so you can hear us, but you won't be able to see us. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you. If we could turn Eileen's volume up at all, is there anything we can do?
I have attempted that twice.
Okay.
And answer right now is no.
Okay.
So something's not working with the system.
Okay. I don't-
Is that better?
No, it's in here, Eileen.
Oh, all right. Okay.
It's 100% there, but there's gotta be
Yeah.
things going.
Yeah, there's something else going on.
Okay.
Also with the computer itself.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. So I had a question. I see that there are two reports. Building permit by application.
Those are summaries for the year.
I'm sorry, building permit by issue date and then building permit by application date. Should there be different numbers of properties on those two lists?
Yes,
Okay,
some of them are reasonable.
got it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for. Thank you for that report. Planning Board, Ted Mayhood.
Planning board met December 19th, you got the draft minutes in your packet. Couple of old business items. Subdivision application for the Sullivans on County Road 37. We actually discussed that at our last town board meeting, so. There must have a question on that. Basically, they're being denied a subdivision of the properties in. The other thing is the Shaw site plan, we're still moving along with that. County planning did not want to review it, so we'll be taking that up for our January meeting. That's all. Any questions?
Thank you for your fine work, Ted.
You're welcome. It's the board's work.
Yes, thank you for, thanks to the board. Very strong word. ZBA did not meet. They are meeting in 2 days. Report per se. Highway Superintendent Jeremy.
Alrighty, so far this winter has been pretty lackluster as far as snow totals. But that knock on wood. But that is not to say that we haven't actually been out and making soft plow runs. So we had 2 winter storm events here since the last meeting. One freezing rain drizzle. We had about 4 hours worth of freezing rain. Which caused us to make probably, well, we did 3-4 trips around town that day. And then the cyclone bomb or whatever they were calling it there from a couple weeks ago. Sort of same thing, rained all night before. Went from 40 degrees in the morning to, well, at my house when I got home that evening, it was -2, so. Roads were very icy, lots of wind damage. We had power outages throughout town. Which caused us to spend a couple days afterwards running around cleaning up trees. So we've been out 17 times with the entire fleet. An additional 4 times with a truck or 2, just doing spot treating drift areas. Cold spots that have a tendency to freeze up, that sort of thing. We've hauled 70 tons of ice control sand in. We've been doing a lot of work on trucks. Had to do a great job on the 2014 10-wheeler. The 2020 truck had check engine light come on, which ended up being covered under warranty. exhaust issue. Computerized exhaust monitor. We're still plagued with issues with the 1-ton dump truck and hydraulics running the spreader controls. At this point, we think we've got it figured out and got it fixed. I've got an appointment next Wednesday with the appraiser from Auctions International to come take photographs of the old 2013 truck. So we can list that for sale. And for the time being, we're taking advantage of having that stripped down truck and we're hauling materials with it.
We use it.
And the last item, which we're pretty excited about, we've bought a new plow blade system from Northern Supply, something that they engineered, designed. So they call it the React. What it is your typical blade system is 11-foot straight blade. So it doesn't meet the contours of the road as you're using it. Well, this one has got 11, 12-inch segments that are spring loaded inside of it. So as you're running down the road, it's taking the contour of wheel ruts, the excessive oil and stone lamps on the center line, and it's supposed to scrape 10 times better than a traditional plow blade, which ultimately leads to having to use less salt to burn off what you don't scrape off.
How much was that investment?
It was $3,300 for the initial buy-in. But in the long run, replacing the blades should be a lot cheaper because you're only replacing 12-inch sections. So if you have a section of the blade that wears more than another section, you can just replace 2 or 3 12-inch sections and then you still have the
And
rest.
that's the whole blade. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to track
Whereas,
that.
as before, like right now, it's about $2,000 to replace the full 11-foot.
And how many of those do you go through a year?
We get about 5 years out of.
About 5 years out of a blade?
Yep. So it lasts, one setup will last half of the truck's life, but we're keeping the trucks for about 10 years. So we're kind of looking forward to a little snow so we can try it out. We used it in the parking lot.
So it's beyond prototype, it's being mass produced now,
Or
or is it still?
as soon as they get one put together, it's already out the door.
Okay, they're producing,
Yeah.
so small batches, right?
So it started out, last year, the towns of Canandaigua and the towns of Gorham got a grant through the Canandaigua watershed to outfit their trucks with the prototype version of this.
Okay,
We're on generation 2 now. They were essentially the guinea pigs, worked the kinks out.
nice.
And so now we're on generation 2. And the plan is to try it. If it works for us, we're gonna change the build spec on our trucks.
Yeah.
And have it. And have it initially installed right on the trucks when we buy it,
Nice.
or to reach out to Megan at
Yeah.
Soil and Water and see if we can.
So that's for Megan
come up
Webster then? Okay,
with some sort of grant money
awesome,
through the Honeywell Lake watershed.
awesome.
Yeah, because you get priorities now. Assuming it works as advertised
Right.
and it does a better job of removing the snow and ice from the road. Does that mean you could reduce the amount of salt too?
That's what the plan is.
That's why the grants. you know.
So right now, we've got it set up on the brand new truck,
Like.
which runs
Yeah,
36.
no, okay,
Um,
so we'll find out.
and 36 is definitely a good road to test it on, because once you get down into the Naples end of it, there is a lot of wheel ruts that hold water and back and forth, so
Interesting.
that'll be a good testing grounds
That's a
for it.
great straight run, yeah.
And we've got the standing controller that's set up on that new truck is, we have it calibrated to run manually like we do with all of our other trucks. So we've got 3 settings that we use. We use a 200 pounds lane mile, 300 and a 400.
Yeah.
But that also has the option where you can switch it to an automatic mode. So it's using a wheel speed to control, to communicate with the sander to run the amount of
Sure,
material.
that's real good. So. I know you know this, but you'll have our view after this winter. So come April, you'll know whether you wanna. Pursue this.
Well, Canandaigua and Hopewell already did it, and they're saying, let's keep going, there was a quorum. Quorum and Canandaigua Highway Departments.
Yep,
Yeah, well, I was trying to
we
go.
made several trips over to town in Canandaigua and talked with them over there to ask them. how
Yeah,
it's
yeah, I was trying to take the high road. So if you let me know. Soil and Water could apply for a grant and there's bonus points working in the Honeywell Lake watershed. So I could help them craft it such that you get
All right,
the bonus.
Megan Webster's.
Yeah.
No, Megan.
Yeah.
Yep. So she's good.
that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Great report. I'd like to follow up with you on this too, because I want to see Paris and non-Paris Springs stuff that we talk about. Very interested in that. Thank you. Anyway, watershed. Yes.
Well, you've all got my report. The only thing really interesting at the moment going on is. The lake became ice covered on Christmas weekend, December 24th, 25th. Ice fishermen were out there. 25th, 26th, 27th, right, Mark? And on January 4th. Was open water.
Watch it every day.
I got up this morning. Today is January 9th. There was a skim of ice across the whole lake. And as the sun was going down today, it was open water. And I just looked at the 10-day weather forecast. It's gonna stay open. So we're gonna have a year with very little ice cover for whatever reason. Very little ice fishing. No winter carnivals for you old timers.
No car races.
That's really all. If you want to go for a walk in the evening in January. Okay.
I'm
January
signed up.
19th, 5 o'clock, Miller Field Station. They're gonna go for an evening walk and see what kind of critters we can find.
I'm signed up. There's a limited registration, but if you email. Ms. Esposito will.
Yep.
Confirm by email. Are you going?
I don't know. I have to talk to Dorothy.
I'll be there. I'll give you a report.
Well, we may go. You never
I'll
know.
represent.
Anyway, that's it. I don't want to take any more time tonight.
Excellent. Lisa Bennett, assessor report.
Well, the beginning of the report's kind of straightforward. It talks about, you've attended some meetings and working on building permits. The big thing we're looking at now is the reassessment project. We hope to, Holly and I have been working on the valuation together. Holly's pretty much working on everything together. There's an aspect of the department she doesn't know how to do now. She's really up to speed. And she just, I think, just likes me around a little bit for some morals before being their first reassessment. That's why I said originally when we talked to Chris and Christine that I would stay on. This Friday, I do retire from the state retirement system. Congratulations. Thank you.
Woo-hoo.
I can, yeah, it's 40 years in coming, so so I'm excited. But so that's something we'll have to talk about, maybe executive session type thing, the transition. With payroll, because I have to come off payroll on Friday.
Yep.
So that's something I think, I don't know if we want to discuss it tonight, an executive session.
We are gonna have an executive session anyways, so, and you would be the first part of that executive session. So I wasn't sure how you wanted to handle that, but yes, I had that,
Great.
and I already talked to Eileen about.
The reassessment project, we plan on having values moved over the end of this month. That gives us February to get the rest of the building permits. I really have never been in favor of sending someone a notice and then they get another one when the building permit's done. So we're trying to coordinate. So if someone's building a new house or a new pole barn, they're gonna get one notice. And so we should have notices out to start doing hearings the 1st of March. The assessments are based on a July 1 of 2022 is this evaluation date. That's where we stop doing sales. We do use some sales after that. We'll send them back. So it's pretty much a done deal at this point. We're just trying to fine tune all the values. And like I said, do the building permits. And then we'll be doing informal hearings in March and April. And the original plan that we had when I talked with Christine and Christopher when he's coming in was probably, May she'll have her 2-year degree. So I would think by then we could get to the state and get them to appoint her at that point. I would feel. I feel pretty confident that the state will do that. Tomorrow night, we're appointing the girl in Richmond. She just had a little more experience. Holly's been 13 months now, going in our office. So she has to have 2 years, so. So we'll work at that. So that's our game plan as far as the reassessment project. Do you have any questions about the reassessment project?
I'm on board. I've been informed all along, so. We're good. We had a good department.
The other thing is with your packet, there is an exemption. The governor passed in December. She passed a couple legislations that affect our department. The one is there is a volunteer firefighters exemption. You have to have 20 years service. It's not just for someone to just, join the fire department.
I made it.
So that's attached to.
I wrote a resolution for that.
If it's the board's pleasure to pass it, then Christopher knows what's going on with that. And then the other is the second notice. When the tax bills go out on the back of the tax bill, it tells people that there is a senior exemption. And the governor feels that we should be more prudent in sending out another notice. So we're gonna have to do that. We're right now just trying to figure out who. She wanted to send to everyone. I said, that doesn't make sense. We have residents here, people here that are not residents, that would not be qualified. So if you send everybody that owns the property this information, I think it's gonna cause a lot of confusion. People are gonna want to apply for this exemption when they're not even qualified. So I think what we're leaning toward is anybody that has enhanced star, we will send it to them. That there is this ability to have the senior exemption.
Yeah.
The county, I don't know, you may know more than I reached out to Donna LaPlante. They have not voted on if they're going to spend the senior income limit. I've not seen anything come across. I haven't either. This now between now and March 1st would be the time. For if they're deciding to move forward with increasing the limits. Something you guys may want to consider. It would be helpful for seniors, especially if these assessments do go up like we're seeing. Someone's really truly low income, disabled low income, and then you're senior low income. So it may be something at some point you're going to want to entertain looking into that. Right now, the income limit is what, 21,200. That's tough for 2 people because your social security is going to put you over. So unfortunately or unfortunately, I don't know which way to look at it. We do have people that do qualify that are under that limit. So we have about 26 maybe. I would say a dozen people that get the senior. Holly works on the exemption, so.
Yeah, no, it's good to help people out that
Yes,
certainly qualify.
right.
So
So
make them aware.
the governor did
That's good.
pass that it could be up to 50,000. Most municipalities aren't going to 50,000. Livingston County went to 36.
Do you have any data on that? Just so we have that.
But you'd have to do it by March 1st because that's when exemptions are in. So it's something that you have to think
Right.
about.
Well, I would need that like by the end of January, just so I can
Right.
get my arms around it and perhaps write a resolution.
And you should also have received from the county the exemption. There's a packet and they ask if there's like a little questionnaire, if we're gonna change anything or if we have changed anything. If
When
they
does
have
that-
it, they should be getting it to you.
Okay, when does that, mid-January?
They should have it. I'm hoping I saw it on the computer yesterday when I was in Richmond. I didn't have a chance. I looked on my computer because I did reach out to the state and the county to find out. When I retire, do you have to I don't think you have to, because I have an appointment here till 2025. I don't think you'll have to reappoint me as the acting assessor. But I reached out to the state to make sure we had,
We covered.
all of our ducks in a row to make sure we did the transition
Yep.
properly, because I will have to state, for name. Just signing purposes. But I just checked my email and the state, the guy at the Batavia office reached out to Albany and yes, they're from Albany, but that's not surprising. It might take a little time. So we'll find out what the actual procedure is. For staying on.
Okay.
So, yeah, we can talk about the rest of that. So the second notice is the firefighters and the update are really our big things that we're we're working on now. Taxes are out, so.
That would be for the next cycle, if you will. Yep. Thank you.
That fireman's tax, I mean, I'll announce it, at the firehouse. They just bring it up to you.
There's a, once you pass it, if you pass it, you do a local law and you pass it.
It won't be till next year's tax.
Right, right.
Just, and the legislation came through in December,
Right.
and then each town writes a resolution, if you will, during this year, but we could get it done now.
But you would do a local law, the school would do a resolution.
Correct. Yes, local law number one. It's in the packet, yes. I'm ready.
And that's just setting-
Public hearing for next,
Yeah, that's just setting the public hearing.
yes,
Okay, the resolutions is in the public hearing.
yes.
Thank you, Eileen.
Yep.
It's in the packet. I got it in writing.
But I did, there should be attached, there's the actual form.
Yep.
It's attached to your-
Yep.
So, yes, that's 10%.
Up to.
Up to 10%. Like anything else, you'll probably cap it. States being into capping things, even like with veterans exemptions, they say you can get 15 or 25%, but they cap it at a certain amount. We're not gonna be 10% off a 200 or 300 or $500,000 house, they can't believe. But we'll learn more about that. So it sounds like you're on board with it.
And we could certainly discuss it on Thursdays, because that's usually the best time for us to chat.
Anything else?
Thank you. Water district ops.
There wasn't anything surprising there. We're up 116,000 gallons. And when you run that against new connections, everything looks reasonable
Yeah,
on this month's report.
it's a win. And the weather's affecting us. We're still compiling, and we gave you a snapshot on the financials. We're still waiting for the year-end things to come out, and then we'll have the full report next month. And transfers will be made once we button things up to clean up our budget. So that's my report. The unfinished business, the HVAC geothermal is 98.56 complete. We're waiting on just a couple items, and Jeremy, if you want to talk about the thermostat or.
Yeah,
there's
so,
so much else.
when they were here last week and finished up, they installed a new thermostat in this room and a new one in the meeting room over here. They were having communication issues between the thermostats, and there's new zone valves installed in the ductwork. So this is a separate zone. The rest of the rear part of the building is a separate zone. So they're having communication issues with that. And the humidistats that run the humidifiers and the ERV units. I reached out to him today as to when he was gonna be back, and I haven't heard anything back from him yet, so. At this point, it's still 98% completed.
Is it working then, or is it?
Yep,
Oh, yeah,
both units are up and running.
just not the new thermostat. Got the
Yeah,
old one.
this, the old thermostat is still on the wall over here, which is controlling the rear part of the building.
Including this room.
And the historians will be happy because now there is a heat run in the office back there. Which might explain why you're having issues with your, because they were up in the ceiling.
Ah, oh, and Birch missed that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, that makes sense.
How good are you with IT? Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see.
First, before we continue, we can vote on your financial report.
All right, there are motion.
It's not an actual financial report, is it?
We don't have a financial.
No.
report.
That's a snapshot. That's a snapshot.
It's an
That's why there's
FYI.
no signature block on there.
Right.
So we're gonna get one in January.
Next one, yeah, you get two. We can close those books. So that's always why it's nice to get things in on a timely manner. Really helps. Okay, new business, several resolutions again. First one, authorization to execute highway superintendent software with Williamson Law Book. And a second one for the payroll software. I'd like to make a motion to block 1 and 2.
Are
in
those,
ordinance.
is there an actual contract for those two? I was very surprised to see that it's a 15% escalator. Is there any way to renegotiate that?
I don't know.
We should give it a shot. That's significant over time. And one of the things that I would ask Williamson is if we were a brand new customer, where would we be starting?
So when do you want to do that?
Anytime,
Okay, if
anytime.
you'd like to, you can table, you
Absolutely.
want to table those,
Um,
renegotiate?
I believe that you would have to negotiate next year, but we should have the conversation with them now.
Well, we have 6 other Williamson Law Books, so we can,
And
take
you and I
a-
also had a discussion about co-terming all of those. This is a perfect opportunity.
well, yeah, last year I bundled one, but yeah, it would be, yes, maybe this. If you can take that off
They
my
may
plate, that'd be
see
great.
it that, they could cap that escalator.
I personally like to get rid of Williamson Law Book, but that's another discussion for another day.
Understood.
And actually going forward at some point, that's, I believe, the way to go.
Okay.
But that's my personal.
So I would offer
It's old software, it's DOS based, it's prehistoric.
that we should go ahead and approve these, but that we should take a look at the.
Yeah, I know.
So you
Yeah.
just need a second then for the block of 2.
Okay.
I'll make it second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
That carries. Thank you for offering to help once again, Kate.
Sure.
Authorization to execute dog contract with the county and,
I move it.
all right.
I'll
Second, Kate, second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Resolution of sympathy for former town board member Leland Durkee, who served the town for many, many years. And was a definite asset to our town. Okay, one second.
I'll second.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Resolution setting a place, time for a public hearing to entertain comments pertaining to the adoption of local law number 1 for 23. Amending chapter 110 taxation, article 6 tax exemption for first responders of the town of Canadace.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Carries.
No, they're not getting the exemption unless they have 20 years service. As I see on the application, says like.
Judith, 5 years, I put a call into that because it's 20 years, it says right here. It says that a local option, the city, village, school,
Oh, okay.
talks about, 20 years is what the exemption. And that's what confused me, no, it's not either or, it's the 20, but what confused me, is I had never read this part till I read it today, where it talks about.
They don't want new firefighters. They want somebody that at least had a couple years.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
so that's somebody just says, oh geez, I can get a tax exemption. I'm gonna be.
Talks about right here, 20 years. But up here, it says, right, so I put, because it almost contradicts itself. And it says depending on policy. Right, depending on policy, right.
Oh, so we get to this.
We can- Oh, we can determine.
And it says municipality determines.
I get to apply to anything. And again, we got a public hearing, so that's really what that's for.
Board's going to determine the 20 years.
The threshold, it's up to us and also the amount of the cap. That's what the public hearing is for. So entertain comments from. Yep, yep. And then there'll be a resolution based on the outcome of the public hearing.
on that basis, I'll make the motion.
Okay, I'll second that. Those in favor?
Aye.
Good. I seconded Eileen. Travis made the motion,
And that's
adoption.
for,
setting.
oh, okay,
time
I
and
already
place
got,
For the public hearing.
a motion and a second for that.
Yeah, already did that.
Already did it. All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna kill it.
Okay,
Did it twice.
all right, good.
Even better.
We'll make two. Thank you. Good job, Eileen.
Sure. I just need an
Resolution
all
for-
in favor.
Aye.
Thank you.
Resolution of appreciation for our former CEO who is now retired. Steven Smith.
I would make a motion to approve with appropriate amendment. Appropriate text changes. And
Okay,
I'm sure Eileen will spot them.
all right. We'll do that.
We need a second.
Mark will second.
Mark seconds. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Distributed the payroll schedule. And last month, again, did distribute the meeting and voucher due date, agenda item due date. So if there's any questions, it really helps out to get those by that certain date. And that was one reason I put out the packets early. Thank you. Approval of the bills thus far. How do we handle that one, Eileen?
Those are all set, right?
They should be all set?
Yeah, the
Okay.
bills should be all set. Yeah.
Should be, okay, ready?
Yep.
Motion,
I motion to approve all three sets of bills.
all right. Second,
Terry seconds.
Terry seconds, those in favor?
Aye.
It carries. Privilege of the floor.
So for unfinished business, I don't know if this is privilege of the floor or unfinished business. During the year, and I think I would ask the question of Ted mostly.
Short-term rental.
During the year, we did a recommendation to update the code for recreational vehicle use. And we got to the point where I think everybody had blessed it. And then we didn't do anything with it.
I thought it had been submitted to the state. The attorney, some of them submitted to the state.
Was it?
That was my understanding.
Okay,
So maybe you can check, unless you have a different understanding.
I don't
Everyone
know.
signed off on it.
I've got a final version dated the 12th of April, and then I don't show anything after that. And obviously, you know, Joe can't.
Sorry. What's going on? So it should have been Michelle was.
Okay,
This.
so that's an open item,
Okay,
and that should stay on
Yeah, we did
unfinished
it.
business.
Okay.
Yeah, good one, good catch.
okay, and then
Yes.
the other thing that Eileen and I have started working on, and this is something that I'm tracking as unfinished business. It was one of the audit recommendations for us to have a disaster recovery plan. And so Eileen has started filling out the template for all of the applications and software packages that she uses. I'm using Eileen as a guinea pig. My next stop is to the CEO's office. Where we'll do the same documentation, and then I'll work my way down the hall. And then we can bring a packet here for review and for feedback. And we'll also take a visit to the shed to see what applications you use down there. And the intent is, if there was an instance where we could not re-enter this building for whatever reason, what would you have to do to maintain business? That's what you have to answer. Okay. So we're making slow progress.
That was one reason I've got a laptop that has, so
Yes.
I can effectively be anywhere. As long as I've got an internet connection and take care of business. And I got access to every resolution that was written for the last 20 years.
That's where we should be.
Yep. Yep.
We're also learning that it's a good opportunity for us to ask lots of questions. So it's a good exercise.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that brings up another, and it hasn't been old business, but cybersecurity training, we had talked about it, but we want to make certain all of our employees are real comfortable on all those scenarios. So we'll actually have some training where you got to kind of sign off on it to make sure it happens. Anyone that's using a computer, because we just can't afford to be locked out, whether it's malware or virus or whatever, just it's way too expensive. Way too expensive. So that's gonna happen, and NYMER's gonna probably be our best source for that as well, just like with the harassment training. So it's consistent. Since we have someone who works for other towns, can you share with us what other towns are doing with their cybersecurity training?
I know Dave Baker down in Richmond,
Oh, yeah,
they're going crazy about all kinds of stuff. It's.
Yep.
It's.
Yep.
It's just something to be mindful that when they did what they did down, you have to make sure we have certain programs, this ARPA's program, that we have to be able to update, and it wasn't taken into consideration. So there's programs we especially have that depending on what they were doing. Every time I have to call this layer 3, every time we need to do an update down there, and he has to keep every single, so they had to do like 26 updates one day, and it was painful.
yeah. Are they doing two-factor authentication on a regular basis?
They have a server finally.
Okay.
That's good that I know.
Right, now that's a worse. I know. Well, we'll get there eventually. We're in the stone age here.
Well, not necessarily. I think we do really well for a small town. And what Lisa's trying to say is you've got to be careful with the security measures that it doesn't interfere with our being able to use our program.
I just got an email last week, and it basically. It looks awful. They want me to click on it for something, and it's one of our very well-respected vendors, and I said back, I said, well, can you please have your IT director respond to this email, because I'd certainly like to have a conversation. I know that, and I'll make sure it was somebody else. You should not be opening up something that looks like this. It's awful. Awful. So that's my privilege of the floor. We are going to need a motion to go into executive session. And well, I think he's still with us at 8:15, unless there's anything else.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
John,
John,
Terry, second.
And the purpose for the executive session?
we need a purpose.
We have two things. One, discussion on an employee situation, a personnel situation, and also after that situation leaves, if you will, we have to talk about ongoing litigation.
Okay, and I will turn my recorder off when I get back there, so you guys can't do anything yet until everybody's out.
Okay,
Thank you.
I will end the Zoom meeting, however. And
Yep.
report.
Dorothy, yeah, whoever that is.